I forgot to start the splits.
River City Ransom Underground, a modern indie sequel to the beloved 1989 classic River City Ransom. Underground has a story mode featuring a similarly open expanse RPG beat-em-up experience where you can strengthen your characters by leveling up and buying items, while fighting tons of different enemies, getting clues from them on where to go next, then completing the story campaign. It's a long story campaign, but this is how you can beat it in less than 100 minutes. Did the agents get River City'd? Did Say discover a massive time skip? Did we find the meaning of life? Find out next time on River... No, it's right now. We're finding out right now. The run has started, and we are kicking the crap out of Ivan, and he did not complain. He just let it happen. That's why he's a good man, full of honor. Or so we thought. But I decided to switch back to the regular graphics setting from Retrocity. Oh my god, nice movement, buddy. And then both of them decided to jump the moment that I did my first hit, which is like the most annoying thing they could possibly do. So I just decided to juggle them across the screen if they wanted it that badly, and it ends up not costing that much time whenever you do that. But I went back to the regular graphics setting here, because I thought that would be possibly a better way to leave a long-standing world record, just the original settings, so everybody can see the entire screens, everybody can see all the enemies coming, get a better sense of what's going on. Oh, and accidental happy dragon feet there. Whenever you're doing the mashing to do that faster movement with the block sliding, it's really easy whenever you're using both hands to like accidentally hit buttons at the same time, and nobody wants to engage me here. At least Pretty Face Guy's here. He always makes me feel better. And as he was on his way down, he did that mechanic where any falling character that makes contact with a standing character will cause the standing character to fall. And that always comes into play. It just always does. Now the Dragon Twins, I got there late, so I'm not thinking I'm gonna be able to get them both together, but then they cooperate, even though I messed up Dragon Feet. They stayed together, so that's a huge time save. Always nice to get the double dragon kill. And now Slick, who rarely cooperates. Uh-oh. Okay. Oh, he just had to get one in there. Can't blame him. Good for him. So that's a fairly solid start. I mean, the game was still squirrely, but it's a good representation of how the game always is. It's going to do weird things that you can't really react to that just look really awkward. But things that look awkward like that are my fault. So as I was getting warmed up, this being my first time playing the game of the day, there's going to be a lot of slop in my gameplay. So I apologize for that. Like, look at this movement. Oh boy, she's got super glue on her feet. I was gonna say shoes, but then I remembered this is Pro V. Also, it's time to hide from our shame. We're in. Thank you, Celine. And you do have to hold buttons here to make the text go faster. This is like the only time in the game you can actually do that. It'd be nice if you could do it more often, but that is just something to keep in mind if you decide to play this game. You can at least speed up the text in that scene. On the top right corner of the screen, you might see there is a clock visible. This game employs a day-night cycle, and certain events can only occur whether it is daytime or nighttime. And again, like, as I continue, a lot of sloppiness in the gameplay. It doesn't really matter too much. That's the great thing. It ended up being the great thing about running this game, when at first it seemed like it was almost impossible to defeat the nerds in the arcade before it turned to nighttime to get Calvin to appear. Once I started playing as Ryan, and once I started cleaning things up in general, it's almost impossible not to be able to get to Calvin now, and so it doesn't matter how terribly things go. Like, there's some swag, unintentional. I will always be able to start the game and get to Otis at the exact same time. It's nice to be able to have things look visually great, and it's nice to be able to have a lot of time to grind for money before you have to fight Otis, but you can take all this as a warning for how awful this part's about to go. Spoilers. Steel yourselves. Alex and Ryan are in a mood right now, and they're gonna take it out on Provi. And yeah, shoutouts to Provi. I'm so happy that I can have her be a part of World Records. She's my favorite character from this game. And there is the first bit of Ryan being jealous of how cool she is. But that first room actually went pretty well. I don't mind being knocked down when I'm taking out the last person. That, however, is more annoying. And that is maximum annoying. That right there is a move that I call the dive bomb, because it's performed by the gang, the Bombers, and they dive. And that has won me a Nobel Prize. We can't call it a Nobel Peace Prize because it's this game, and I'm funny. But then I got knocked down again right after that, so that is how this is going right now. I'm already embarrassed about my commentary. But it's true. This is a Saria commentary. All right, so the poll is now over, and the most people have guessed that this world record will be completed in less than an hour and 9 minutes and 30 seconds. Very optimistic people are right now. I just got absolutely sniped. And then knocked down. So this right here, I think is like the most annoying room in the entire speedrun. You can't see anything that's happening. The enemies are all stuck in various places, and of course you can't see where they're stuck. If they're on top of the cars, then you have no, and then they get stuck between the cars. They get sent toward the left side of the room where you don't want to be. They get sent into the air randomly. You can't do anything. And so this has been basically the worst this room has ever gone. And that's the beauty of this speedrun. This run is a perfect showcase of the lenience of the early game. Because this has not been fast. This has not been remotely fast. This has been basically a casual playthrough. And again, spoilers, I'm going to easily get Calvin to appear before it turns nighttime. Also, has anybody been keeping a count on how many times I've been knocked down by BS? I'm pretty sure it's been at least 10. This has been kind of unthinkable. This has been the trolliest this section has ever gone, and then that guy just decides to run away when he's at like one hit away. Just peachy. Can't complain. And Ryan is an athlete, good for him. And you can see in my splits, when this goes well, it's already done. Like, I have an entire room to complete here, and then the boss fight before I'm actually done with this. And previous runs have already completed it, like, 15 seconds ago. That's how terrible this is. Even though that's true, we're about to have to wait through an entire nighttime cycle before we can get a daytime-only required boss fight to occur, so we can't lose any genuine time until then. River City Council invents and starts awarding the Nobel War Prize. Ryan's just getting his plyometric exercises in. They're keeping fit. They actually helped out in that run, or in that fight. So, looking at the clock here, we have an entire hour of time left here. I'm referring to the day-night cycle clock on the top right corner of the game screen because the upcoming required boss fight in the arcade actually is also daytime only, so you have to make sure that you get there and clear out the enemies before it turns nighttime. Thank you so much, Provi, for your services, and now we must switch to Ryan because he has by far the best move in the game, it seems, for speedruns, which is this one right here, the bird kick. It's a move which uses the strength stat, which is the same stat that gives the power for all of your regular moves, and so throughout this run, we're going to be increasing our strength stat whenever we can with items that we can buy, and it'll increase the power that I do with all of my moves around it. So it's just amazing that that incredible move also uses that stat. And so Calvin is here, and yeah, as you can see, we still have plenty of time left on the daytime clock. I have to make sure that he does not get back into his mech here, so I'm going to try and keep him infinite comboed, and we did. I don't know why he's not interested in a fist bump. Kinda rude. Thank you for the woohoo. So here's one of our running simulators in this game. This game has some ebbs and flows with the pace. Oh, he's going to space! He has discovered space travel. What a smart man. Yeah, there's a lot of ebb and flow. We blocked the dive bomb, and the sheer force of our coolness caused him to just sort of scuttle on the ground. River City is a beautiful place, full of magic and intrigue. You tend to notice that there are a lot of fights in a row, and then there's a lot of running, and then a lot of fights, and then the milk quest, and then a lot of fights, a lot of running. So, it's an interesting... A lot of this game just lines up really interesting, like the fact that the timing is actually perfect to get Calvin to appear, and then do all this stuff after Calvin, so that you can complete Ivan before it turns daytime, and then you can do Otis. So everything kind of lines up really well in a way. It's almost like they intended for this to be a perfect route. But I don't think that they designed this around a speedrun. It just happened to be this intuitive. So again, as I was saying, Ivan only appears in nighttime, and then Otis only appears in daytime, and they're right next to each other. So I have plenty of nighttime, because it just turned nighttime, to do basically whatever I want. So I'm going to be using that time to fight people whenever I can, and collect their money, because we need money to buy those strength increasing items. And it can be very random, the things that cause me to either miss out on money or get a lot of money. And so it's best to just be as prepared as possible. It is incredibly satisfying to take people all the way across the screen with bird kicks, and you see that I'm varying my moves. I'm not just doing a bird kick every single time. The reason is that this game has something called what I believe is the boring attack preventer, and if you do the same move like 2 or 3 times in a row, or you do the same sequence of like 3 moves twice in a row or something, then the enemies automatically parry, and then you have that combo broken. But as Pink Bee denies our fist bump, if you do a sequence of 4 moves and loop that, the game does not break that combo. And so you'll see the combo I try to set up most often on single characters is bird kick, regular kick, bird kick, regular punch. Look at that guy get it. He's such a legend. And then you loop that sequence, and it can be really difficult to keep that one going because of the sort of... You see, like, enemies kind of hover in the same place in the air as they're falling down, and then very suddenly just crash down. And the bird kick can send enemies into really awkward, different parts of that animation, and so it's hard to... Like, it's kind of luck-based to keep that combo going. Yeah, it doesn't matter being knocked down in here. This is a guaranteed 30-second wait, and you see that I'm actually attacking NPCs because they can give money, and it's very useful to have as much as possible to try and guard against anything going wrong and not having enough money to be as strong as possible at the end game. I did not mean to punch her again, I promise you. I felt really bad about that. We have to stop by this place really quick. If you hit one of these guys and cause the heart to appear with Roxy because she loves it when Ryan hits himself, then it causes the next part of the game to load. If you don't go in there and do that cutscene, then the chasing quests will not load yet. I don't know why you're able to skip those cutscenes like that. If you can start them and then skip them in Act 1, but not in the rest of the game, unfortunately. But Rocco's here, everything's fine, and so now we have to chase some guys. Look at him go. He's a majestic lion. Send this man to the Olympics. I'm going to do so right now. Hi-ya! Oh, he didn't go very far. I need to practice my shot put skills. Well, if he doesn't fist bump, maybe this guy will. He just looked at my fist and was like... We love birds. Shoutouts to birds. Scientists dumbfounded as local researcher renders millions in research obsolete through windmill-based space travel. Yes, yeah, that nerd back in the arcade. He's the most important character in this run. So now to get to Tex, we have to go behind the sewer plant, which you can get to through the high school if you really wanted to, but that's like as far out of your way as you can go. Now, after impressing this wrestler, we can go ahead and be impressed by this man's pure aura. That part is actually really scary. That's some of the most tight platforming in the game. If anything goes wrong and he makes that first jump, it's basically impossible to hit him. So you have to hit him like right there, or else you just have to keep redoing this. And again, that's okay in this part of the game, because you... I don't know why I tried to fist bump that guy, but he didn't like it. It's okay to lose time in this part of the game, because none of it actually matters until after Otis, because it's restricted by the day-night clock anyway, but it's really preferred to be able to complete Ivan as soon as possible so you can do some money grinding and then be able to set up Otis right as it turns daytime. Zazu says, breaking news! Someone is going fast on the internet. That's never happened before. It was that guy. Did you see that guy? It was him. You can see the future. Incredible. Hi, I hope you're doing amazing. I like how that guy tried to give me strength by doing a pose right behind me. He tried to catapult me forward. Instead, it just made me flustered and kind of messed up my movement, and I was still thinking about it. That pose was just living in my skull. And so I had to bonk it on the ground there in order to be able to keep going. It was actually optimal. Good to see you too. Always amazing to see you. Okay, so yeah, again, you can see the clock here. We have even more time here. We have way more leeway. We're about to finish Ivan. That sounds wrong, but look at him. He's so cool. You see those sleeves? What a man. Let's have a moment together. So now, we have plenty of time to grind for money as we wait for daytime. Yo, Ursatz, welcome. Hope you're doing amazing. You're just in time. We're about to break free of the day-night cycle restricted part of this game. And it's nice to see those guys, the Warlocks. They seem to have the most money. They have 4 coins. So it's always nice to be able to get money from them. My comrades ran bravely is the only thing I'm taking from this game. I do... Every time that line happens, I just feel like I need to call it out. Yeah, it's a hell of a thing. Also, that guy's got a good arm. We're right next to the football pitch, buddy. I bet they'd take you on the team. Actually, you know, social. Anyway, so I'm actually here kind of early. Especially if any of these guys run away, like him. Now I have to wait before I take out the last 2 guys. Because if the final guy's money disappears before it turns daytime, then I have to redo the entire room, because Otis will only appear in daytime. Also, shoutouts to the squirrel. Alright, here we go. I'm playing it super safe. And now it is daytime. Okay, we're good. There he is. So I like to be able to coax the final enemies down to where Otis is about to spawn, so that we can face him as soon as possible. And here's that infinite combo I was talking about. And I missed that last normal kick, but he was literally 1 hit away. And we have that vending machine actually unlocked. It seems that a lot of the vending machines in this game are randomly unlocked, they're usually blocked. If you can't hit them to have items come out, but that's the second time I've ever seen that one actually give me drinks. So now we have way more items than we usually do. So that's interesting. We have to clear our inventory in the middle of the game anyway, but I just think it's cool. Ryan's about to be so hopped up on caffeine. So this room can go very poorly, very quickly. We have to open this thing with a crowbar. That guy, everybody was so dismayed when that guy missed that swipe that they all just had to run home. Those poor lads. They were just all banking on their leader. Speaking of their real leader, in this room, that clear out actually went really well. Usually those guys troll really hard and they all separate from each other, and so that fight actually went really fast. This guy likes to jump a lot, and he actually didn't this time, and so I tried to run around him to get him back toward the entrance. That went really well. So we're dead even with world record now. This, again, now that we're free of the day-night cycle, this is where all of our time saves and all of our time losses start to actually matter in the grand scheme of things. So anytime I get knocked down or run into a wall, or anytime enemies are not cooperating, anytime I mess up anything with boss strats or anything, now it's starting to matter. And the first big luck factor that we have to face in this run is the subway. So we're taking a shortcut back to Roxy's place here, because that'll take us right next to the subway, which will take us on to the other side of River City to Oak Hill, which is where we have to go next. The old River City location, which is one of my favorite parts of the game. It's always just really fun to execute and to do all the little reactions and adaptations to the tiny things that are happening. But the subway can either appear immediately as soon as you get there, or you can just miss it and then have to wait 25 seconds for the next one. So it's not here right now. And every moment that it doesn't appear is costing time. But that was pretty fast. That's a good subway. And that's a good boy in terms of predicting my movements and knocking me down, being very annoying. Yeah, in River City, you know, people who are good at hurting people are good boys, so I guess I was right. And again, I have to be really mean to the pedestrians, which is sad, but that guy actually had a lot of money. That was the jackpot. That's why we do that. So now I'm doing really good on money. And also, welcome, Teal. It's amazing to see you. Hope you're doing great. Yeah, he's the best boy. Alright, here we are. See, the subway drops you off right here. And now we have to deal with all these frickin' bombers who do that dive bomb move. It's one of my least favorite moves in the game. Basically instant knockdown, instant time loss, and this is why. But what I was going to say is, this is where you can also have a lot of variance with time loss, because you want to be able to do double and triple kills as much as possible, but sometimes these guys just separate all over the room like they're doing right now. You can also save time if they run away, which is purely random. I don't think there's a way to really manipulate that. They just decide to do it sometimes when you hit their friends. But right now, nobody's running away, and also, you see there were people just trickling in throughout the fight. This is something you're going to be seeing for the rest of the game. Sometimes reinforcements just sort of come in, and you have to fight extra people. Normally you have to do that, but sometimes you only get one reinforcement, sometimes you get two, very rarely you get three, and I think that time I got 3 reinforcements, so that was a very, very slow start, and also I missed that guy, and I missed him, so an annoying start to the next floor, but now this is where this gets fun. Now we're just doing a delivery service to the bottom floor. This looks exactly like my real high school that I went to. These are the games that we used to play there. We just used to chuck each other from the second floor to the bottom floor. Character builders. Deadlock, yo dude, how's it going? Good to see you, man. This is a speed run, so I just finished this run about 45 minutes to an hour ago. And now I'm showing it live here, so this is pre-recorded. And And here we are at the final floor of this part of the game. And again, we have a pit here. So if we can actually succeed in picking somebody up, we can throw them in. I kind of play it by ear. If enemies end up coagulating all the way on the left, I just take them out normally. But if they're kind of nearby to the pit, then I'll use the pit. These guys I always just throw into the pit, no matter how far away they are, because they have way more health. So we have to hope this second guy cooperates and just... Of course. The abobos are very finicky. You're at work right now? I hope that's going smooth, man. Thanks for dropping in. It's very nice of you. Yeah, I hope things have been going well in general. Alright, so... now that that's all taken care of, this slick fight used to be just really variant. He used to just sort of always immediately do a zero-frame acro circus move directly into the pit, but I stopped that by starting to go around him and hit him from the left, so now I can set up these infinite combos as much as I can and stop him from going into the pit. So that was a pretty smooth fight. It's fairly consistent now, and I actually consumed one of my items right after his first text appeared. That skips some of the text. It just goes directly to Ryan's next text. So far, that's the only instance that I've found that consuming an item actually saves time rather than loses it. It'll be better at 6 AM when you can head home. Holy moly, dude, you got the graveyard, huh? Oh, man. Hope I can help. Yeah, 6 AM. Yeah, hope the family's doing well and everything, too. Alright, here we go. So, every single time that you complete that first act, you always have to kind of steel yourself for what's coming next, because it is fairly time-consuming to do that first act, and, ow. You have to really focus hard to do the old River City High sequence as optimally as possible. There's so much that you have to pay attention to. But after all of that, we're coming up on the part of the game that is the least up to us. We have the least control over the milk quest. So I think this is about the time that I can set up a prediction for it. And also, this was our second subway. That was another part where we could gain or lose time based on when the subway got there. That was an average subway. I had to wait a little while for it. Okay, so time to open up this prediction. We have 5 minutes here. How many times will I drop the milk? It's obviously not going to break because we know that this run's going to finish. But will I barely get through with 3 drops? Will I drop it twice? Will I drop it once? Or will something like that happen out of like the 50 enemies I have to pass, and I'll drop it once? Or 0 times. I think I got tripped up there. That happens a lot. Calcium or cancelum? Cancelum is good for your bones being the only part of your body that's left. Ow! See, like, they're flexing on me a little bit right now. Before they patched it, the milk would break if you dropped it 1 time. Yes, it did. Yes, it did. I'm so sorry, Deadlock. I'm so sorry. Yes. It used to be like that. Now, granted, usually when you drop the milk, it is kind of completely dooming you anyway, because it takes so long for the milk to settle, and it takes so long for your pickup animation to end. Usually you just get it knocked down every time anyway, but it is still good. So that sequence went really well. There was actually, this room is another point of huge variance, because that is a room where you can see reinforcements come in. But thankfully, I fought the minimum amount of enemies, and I fought them really quickly. And also, this pink bee and purple bee fight went really ideally. That's about the best that's ever gone. That's like the cleanest part of the run so far. And then I got wrecked. That man is a Chad. He lined it up and he threw it down, and there's nothing that I could do to stand up to it. But aside from being knocked down and slapped around a couple times, that was a pretty good split, and so we're gonna save some time here. This is gonna be a pretty nice Cindy time. I say really often that when you get good enough at the game, even with all the variants, you will get to Cindy basically every time around 30 minutes. And this is a 29:50 Cindy time. But as the prediction has about 2.5 minutes left for people to predict, the next part is the antithesis of that. Deadlock says, the rich kid enemies are probably the worst enemy in this game. I don't disagree, to a point. They're the worst enemies in the game before the agents appear. Yeah, the agents are incredibly annoying. Like, they're the bombers just, like, evolved into the highest form of annoying life forms with all of their knockdown moves and all of their richness. But then, just, like, the agents can just decide for minutes at a time to never let you hit them with their blocking. So, there's a lot of... they all suck for different reasons. But here we go. So, all that distance we just covered to get here, we have to go all the way back, because the milk is now appearing in one of the previous rooms. It wasn't there before. So, more cardio for Ryan. He was getting his plyometrics in earlier in the run, so I'm sure he doesn't mind. Yeah, the agents you only have to deal with at the end of the game, for sure. Teal asks, what's the most fun to fight against in this game? The most fun enemies to fight against. Honestly, just probably those standard enemies. Oh my god, incredible movement! You see there that the speedrunner missed his jump by a short little degree of pixels, and he was unable to stop his dash after he landed, and thus he ran into the rock, and then everything was ugly. So, yeah, the enemies that, like, have, like, the dark hair, yeah, those guys right there, they're kind of like the weakest enemies. I have the most fun fighting them, but honestly, like, the bosses. I love fighting a lot of the bosses. Slick is annoying, but you can really take advantage of his blocking patterns eventually. He's the most annoying when you have that little tiny amount of space in that first fight that I just did. Anyway, here we go. Milk run. What'll it be? So 0 is already off the table. That's one of the first times I've ever been hit. Look at where they are. They are all swarming to the left. That was rare. And I can't believe I didn't get annihilated. They were perfectly poised. Okay, here we go. Now for the rooms where I can't move up or down. Oh my goodness. Like, they're all in perfect position. They're just... they're trying to think of the ways to kill me in the most embarrassing way, and then I'm gone. I love that room because you can jump over like that, but here we go. This room, there's a lot of places where I have to be stuck in landing lag. I decided to jump there. If I hadn't, that guy would have got me. And now, for the most precise jumps in the game. Only a few pixels to spare here. Okay, and as you can see, I'm kind of mashing the directional button because that makes you move slightly faster. When you're first accelerating, you have a higher top speed than when you're just running normally, but I'm going to stop doing it here because I have to pay attention in this last room where I can get hit. They let me go. So we dropped the milk one time. But now we have to do a boss fight before we're allowed to enter the house. This hasn't been going well. I do want to collect all the money that drops here because it's going to be incredibly crucial for me buying all of the strength items I need. God, that missing the grab animation is just the saddest thing. You just have to watch for a couple of years every time you miss a grab. So that cost me some time. Ooh, the teddy bear. Okay, that could have been worse, honestly. It wasn't great, but it could have been a lot worse. Just being safe, I didn't know if there was any reason that I should wait for that to end. Like, it would probably just let me in instead of not letting me in, and it would be fine, but Whenever things are going well, you just get nervous and you try to play it safer. Whew, okay, so now this is when basically the run feels like it's actually starting. Once you're past the milk quest, then things are getting real. Deadlock says, also, before they patched this game, you had to completely stop running before you transition to another area and walk through, otherwise it would act as a wall and you would get knocked down. Oh man, so just like it acts, like it still acts that way in the sequence where you're fighting with Alex and Ryan right after you enter Roxy's place for the first time. So it was like that in every room? No way, no. Yikes. Okay, so the next part of this game is also very luck-based. We're going... Thankfully, it doesn't seem to ever drought you too much with bad luck, but we have to fight 6 mercenaries in a row here and get 6 dog tags in our inventory, so I have to start clearing my inventory now. And we have to wait every time to see a shadow of a helicopter, and then chase that helicopter into the next room to be able to fight each mercenary, one at a time. Whether or not a shadow appears is random, and right now we're getting droughted for the very first one. And there it is, okay. So that lost us about 15 seconds, and anytime you get droughted on the very first one, it's really scary. Because you could lose time on any of them, and when it starts badly, it just feels hopeless. But now I just have to knuckle down and try and get the fights as fast as possible, because that's what you can control. And that's a good fight. Anytime that you can hit the military people when they're dropping, then there's no chance for them to block you, and you can set up the infinite combo. Also, I got hit as I was exiting the room. That's classic. That's a good bit of luck there. Right after the first fight, I see another shadow. Get away from me. And my inventory was so full from that vending machine in the football field being open that I really have to clear my inventory as soon as possible. Because if your inventory is too full to collect another dog tag, even if you do beat 6 military people, you have to keep fighting them until you actually get all 6 dog tags. Oh, what a speedrunner. See, I know all the secret strategies. By running into that street light, I'm actually making it such that the helicopters are going to appear sooner. I'm lying. It was just terrible. I hope you liked it. So this is another small drought here. But that wasn't too bad, and it's always nice after you get droughted for the helicopter to appear in the very next room, and so you don't have to run too far. And we can get a little bit of money there. Very nice. Again, anytime we can get money and it doesn't cost too much time, we want that. Especially with the new Death Warp strategy after Merv Tower. We're going to be hurting for money, so we need to get as much as we can. Okay, again, we didn't have to wait too long, but we passed the point where it would have stopped, so we have to go all the way to the left to fight in the far left room. That's not too bad. And as you can see, like, every time that cutscene happens where you can't see yourself anymore, the game is actually still running normally. And so when it pans back down, normally you're going to see yourself on the ground because enemies will be hitting you while you can't see. And so I try to just sort of throw attacks while that cutscene's happening. And anytime you can kind of reasonably gauge where you are, I try to set myself up so I can hit the mercenary as they're dropping in the air. Let's see if I can do it here. Nope. Yeah, I had to be safe, because as Deadlock said, those rich kids, the guys in the sunglasses and backwards caps, they are the most likely to knock you down in this part of the game. They have so many good knockdown moves, and by that I mean they have so many awful moves. Okay, I'm hoping for a shadow right there that'll take me to the right. So this is the final one, so actually that was a really good segment. I'm running against the best one that I ever got, and you can see I am losing time because of that, but after that initial drought, this is... I'll take this. I was expecting to be like a minute behind, and I should only be about 20 seconds behind or so, and there's a good fight. Perfect. That's exactly what I wanted to end that with. And just being safe, waiting for that to end. I also wanted to see if that would give me more experience so I could level up. I don't know if the game actually keeps you from gaining experience if you leave early, but all you need for progressing the game is to see that dog tag show up in your inventory. So that's why I was leaving before their text ended. There's a level up at least. So hopefully there's not going to be another person appearing. That was a late reinforcement, and that's really annoying, but I also kind of stunted on him by just walking around him, anticipating his knockdown move. So he didn't cost that much time. Zaji says, does that mean you could have gotten bodied while you were carrying the milk off screen? Yes. Yes. You can get hit as you're exiting a room on the last frame, and then you won't have the milk anymore. I have lost 2 runs by that happening. Yes. Yes, I will close my poll and my prediction. Thank you for reminding me. Congrats to the people who guessed 1 or 2. 3 people guessed that. Alright, so this is where you start to, like, gradually start getting more and more and more nervous because your feet are sticking to the ground, and, well, I mean, it is a dance area. Like, Ryan was feeling the music. He didn't want to get through there too fast. He was just... But this room is fun. Let's see how well this one goes. You just gotta camp out here and just let the magic happen. Fine, if you're blocking, then I'll help you along. Love that. I love that so much. Alright, so this guy, now the enemies are going to start getting up really fast, so you have to pick them up and throw them immediately to start the infinite combo. To start the infinite combo. But it's okay when that happens, so that's a pretty standard fight whenever you can get that first throw and you can get the infinite combo going. And now I'm going to try to beat as many of these guys as possible. Ideally, I'm going to beat them all, so I can get all of their money, because right after this we're going to buy 2 of the biggest strength increasing items, but they were being really finicky there, and so I'm only going to be able to get 1 of those last 2. But I still have a pretty good amount of money here. Like 73, that's usually around where I'm at, so I can buy 2 of the next item. It's called RCRU. From the game shop, you can buy this game, and it's really good for increasing your strength, and your stamina, and your willpower. It's a really good item. Also, it's so good that I lose my voice when I think about it. It's so beautiful. Alright, here we go. I don't know if I've ever had enough money at this point to buy 3 of them, but that would be amazing. But to this, like, you can see I'm not even close at that point. It costs $31.85 or something. We were just there and I still can't actually tell you the exact amount. I'm sorry. But now we're coming up to another huge point of nerves and variance and drama. Merv Tower. So first we have to go up the hill of River City. And try not to run into this giant street pole. And then also try not to get zero framed by these bicycle riders. Sometimes, when you enter that room, before you actually gain control of Ryan, you can be hit by one of those bicycle riders and then be infinite comboed. It's great. Here we go. This fight has a lot of variance. Again, we're hoping that we don't see a bunch of reinforcements come in, and we're just hoping that the enemies cooperate so that we can take them out as soon as possible. We're not allowed to use the lift until the room is entirely clear. And we've got a very annoying start, so it's random what types of enemies appear. And so seeing the military people is always not what you want to see here, because they're the most likely to block and avoid you. And so that always costs you time. But and so we got a reinforcement or 2 as well, but that's why the rich kids suck. Honestly, this fight's pretty standard. It's gone way better in the past, but I can't expect too much more than that, and I at least got a little bit of money out of it. Now it's time for the elevator section, and for the most important trick of the run, I have to nail this fist bump. This is for all the marbles. He rejected me. It's over. Oh, we'll try and salvage it anyway. So, for this part, we have to try to knock everybody off or throw everybody off as soon as possible. That's not a great start, I only got 2 of them, but that was lucky right there. There are a bunch of different states that the enemies can take that you have to stay aware of. The longer that you're carrying them, the more likely that they are to get up while they're picked up. And once they do that, they'll when you throw them, they'll take on this really, really long rolling animation where they will bounce off the walls. So when you anticipate that happening, you can throw them from the middle of the lift and they'll end up off. And a lot of these enemies are going to start to get up really fast, so you have to anticipate that. He actually outspaced my dash punch. Oh, okay, this is the main character. That guy is actually the main character. So that can happen. When you get to this part of the game, you have to start to deal with the fact that enemies are very likely to block. And you can exploit that, but it becomes really risky to try to do it, especially when there are multiple enemies on the screen. So often you just kind of have to keep doing your regular strategy and hope that they stop blocking, especially here on this lift. So far this hasn't been too bad. Okay, and why did I say that? I'm jinxing myself, my past self. Actually, no, we're okay. So here I'm going to wait for him to get up and throw him from the middle. So he just rolls off. If I had thrown him closer, he would have bounced off the pulley on the left. So that was just some strategy from playing this game enough times. Coming up, we have a group of mercenaries, the Kickstarter backers. And as I said, they're going to block a lot. They're not usually this bad, but they were this time. Okay. And then he was a little weird. And they like to do little footsies. That was bad. And Ryan is sad. And I have lost time just a tad. But if the rest of Merv Tower goes well, that won't matter too much. It's just always sad to see it go that badly. I've seen this part just go lightning fast, and it's so satisfying, but it's not really up to you if they space perfectly and if they block you constantly. But now for the real exciting part of Merv Tower. So you have to kind of balance the different actions that you take here, whether or not you engage enemies directly or if you try to lure them to the right and let the stage hazard here do the work. If you haven't seen this before, you'll see exactly what I mean. Here we go. This is always such an adrenaline pumping part of the game. So yep, a military person always sucks to see that because they're going to be blocking a lot and being very unpredictable, but hopefully they can get hit here. Not that time, so let's just try and take matters into our own hands. Uh-oh. Oh, wait. Hold on. Uh-oh. Oh. I have no idea why that didn't hit me. But now we're good. So, you want to have the last guy all the way on the right of the screen when he's taken out, so you can collect his money and then camp at that door. You're supposed to take out a second group of enemies in every single room, and the last one will have a card key that you can use to unlock the door, but you can exploit that by taking out the first wave and hanging out by the door, and then when the next enemies open the door to come through, it just lets you in. But it's a very, very small window. As soon as the door closes, it just knocks you down. Thankfully, she actually did get knocked down there, but now I have to get her to the right. That'll do. Alright, Deadlock. I hope work goes really well. Thank you so much for stopping by. Hope you enjoyed what you were able to catch. Alright, this room is much simpler. We hope that once we jump over this gap, that everybody else is going to fall into the pit, which gives me enough time to go over here. Boom. That is beautiful. I love that last room. And that is Merv Tower. In less than 49 minutes. This, I believe, is my best pace ever, by 5 seconds. I think that time is accurate to my actual best pace ever. So, now you start to get nervous, if you're me. In fact, I actually, I went over to my phone and I recorded myself being nervous here. Because what else am I gonna do during this cutscene? Think about the West quick kill? No, I want to put off thinking about that. Let's do anything else other than dwell on how scary the West quick kill is. So, coming up is a fight where you can either end the fight before it begins, or lose 30 seconds doing the fight normally, and it's one of the most annoying fights in the entire game. It's very precise. I didn't realize it was initially, because I was just doing it before I realized it was hard. When I realized it was hard, I started messing it up all the time. And it's also, you can't really see where you are when you're dealing the first hit. Time for the West quick kill. Got him. Okay, so now it's time for something I just found. We're gonna try and take all of my health away. This is a perfect part of the game to take away your health. Every time you fall off a pit, you respawn right where you were with lost health. Okay, and so this takes away your stamina tutorial stamina, and your tutorial willpower. Here's a risk here. I tried to wait until right before the cutscene ended, and I actually took away all of my willpower as well, and so the game thinks I'm dead. But it still switched to the beginning of Act 3. I accidentally found this last night. So I don't even have to rely on an enemy knocking me down in the next room. I can't even go to the next room. So I have to wait a little bit for their text to end before the game actually sends me, but that's a death warp. And I was able to collect all the money, so we have $33.52. Before this, before this, I would go back to the game store and buy like 2 more RCRUs, but I didn't even use any of my RCRUs yet. I decided to keep both of them because Merv Tower, like, you can fight people directly, and you saw I was, but I don't really get much benefit from the RCRUs at this point because my level ups have not increased my maximum strength stat enough to be able to have the items increase my strength. That might sound confusing. In this game, you have your stats and you have the maximum that those stats can go up to, like your barrier. When you level up, those barriers increase, so you're like, it's capped to start off with, and then the more you level up, the more it can grow with the items that you use. And so I'm trying to route this so that I'm keeping my items until after I get more level ups, so that my strength will increase more than it would have if I used them earlier. All of this is designed so I can try to max out my strength when I get to the end game, because that's so crucial for saving as much time as possible. And now we have to do some more running. We got another running simulator here. This part of the run is always so interesting. You can kind of relax a little bit, but you still have to, like, you have to put your hand and your arm through some trauma here to do all of the block mashing, and you have to pay attention every single moment to try and get around enemies who are trying at every single opportunity to knock you over. And now that I've figured out that the Dad and Me boss happens in a room where enemies can get stuck behind that bathroom, things are a little bit more stressful, because that can lose you like a minute for no reason. So I have that looming in my mind. But for now, we just, in order to actually spawn that event, we have to go back to talk to Roxy really quick. And again, we can't skip any of these cutscenes, we just... Thank you, game, for giving me a quick get up there. Sometimes you just get up really fast. Like, you can increase the speed with which you get up by mashing down and B, or down and kick. But sometimes you just... Sometimes you just get up right away. Thank you, Zazie. Yeah, that death warp was faster than it was in the world record. It was a kind of like the refined version of it, and so that is the best split. Almost sub 54, entering Roxy's hideout for the final time. Alex isn't impressed, but let's get a little bit of self-love. Rough. Roxy's just doing her thing. She's headbanging. I'll just fist pump the only thing that cares about me. I'm a punching bag now. I always have been, right? That's all I am to you people. Anyway, okay, so now it's time for the Dad and Me boss fight. So now I'm trying to think where I'm going to use my next item. I think I'm going to use it before I start fighting everybody in the park room, because I want to be doing 12 damage. If I don't, I'll be losing time to the Dad and Me fight by just having to do way more rounds of hits with less damage. And I'm also hoping that I'll get a little bit of money from that room so I can buy a bunch of octopus rolls from Mao's right there on my final pass before I go trigger that guy to run again. We can't do anything about this. Like, we can't chase this guy yet. If we do, before we finish the Dad and Me fight, then the endgame won't open up anyway. It's just kind of there. So we just have to sit through that guy running around until it actually matters. And thankfully, all 4 of those guys spawned right down at the bottom. They're angry about it. They want to be stuck behind the bathroom. They're so angry that they're free. They just want to be a part of the system of the poo-poo-pee-pee. And then the game faked me out. Those are the latest reinforcements I could have gotten. Thankfully, it went pretty fast. It still cost me about 15 seconds, and I banked on them not having money. The clones can rarely have money, and so I just hoped that they didn't so I could start the Dad and Me fight as soon as possible. And that's a pretty rare opportunity for me to get an extended combo going on him. This can be a fairly tricky fight. It's a weird room. Alright, 10 seconds ahead of my best ever pace in this game, and there's a new time save waiting. So that death warp that I just did after Merv Tower was a brand new time save, but there's one I found just last night. I didn't get any money from that room, so I still only have 3352, but that's still enough for 2 octopus rolls, so I should be set here. I'm doing 12 damage, so if I wait for all the level ups I can, I should be very safe to end up doing 15 damage to everybody, which is, I think, the maximum. That's what we need for the endgame. That guy was keen, he was locked in. My butt was in danger there. Alright, so this is the actual time that we can chase that guy. We have to make sure that we don't run out of the room before he disappears, or else the game will think that the quest is just reset and we have to go back and start it all over again. So, I'm being safe here, lagging behind. And now for the gauntlet of some of the longest rooms in the game, to really put our hand and arm through the ringer. We're gonna end up like those River City jocks someday. Our running form is unorthodox, but it gets the job done. Okay, so I'm going to have... Am I gonna have my octopus roll here? Yes, I am. Because I still was only doing 11 damage on the Dad and Me fight, I think. Now I'm doing 12. Or no, yeah, 11 is normal for the Dad and Me fight, and 12 is normal for Slick. So... yeah, it's just you really try to route out all of your item consumptions to make sure that you're getting the maximum value out of them. Okay, was I able to beat this without having to fight any reinforcements? Yes. That's some good luck. We only had to fight the minimum amount of enemies there. So for this last Slick fight, he tends to block a lot, but it's actually like not annoying at all, because usually when he blocks, all you have to do is set up another bird kick and it'll get right through him. Okay, bird kick. And then if you go through him, you can just turn around and do it again. That was like the fastest Slick I've ever had. Very nice. Incredible movement. We are going slower than we would be if we were running normally. Ryan is just too nervous, man. Yeah, we'll blame him. It's not like I'm the one playing. Okay, so this room. Yay, I actually went to the right room this time. I don't know if I've really seen this room happen without reinforcements. We already see one there, and we're hoping that we don't see an agent. Ow. So far, we've been lucky not having to fight any ancients in any of these rooms. Like I was saying earlier, thank you, Jock! Your strong back stopped me from getting shot by this man's very plasmatic weapon. Agents are the hardest AI to get past. They block constantly. It's like impossible usually to get past them unless they jump or unless they're in the middle of winding up one of their own attacks. So anytime you don't see one, you're saving time. Or if you see more than usual, you're losing time. It's hard to get past just sort of innate time loss when you see agents, and unfortunately that fight in this room went slowly because I had to fight a lot of reinforcements along with an agent, so we're going to be losing time here. Again, this fight is kind of like the Slick fight, except he's a bit more likely to block in those sequences. Alright, so now for a very difficult cutscene skip. Normally we have to wait for Chris to stop talking here before we can enter the hideout, but here I have to do a very complicated maneuver. It's so mean. But it's so River City Ransom. So we just saved like 25 seconds. But now I really have to dig in here. If I mess up any of these first inputs, I'm going to be losing massive amounts of time to having to fight the agents without quick killing them. That's a perfect example of what you're looking for anytime you fight the agents. If you can get them in the air and get them infinite comboed, then you bypass all of their terrible time loss features. Sounding like I'm speedrunning the actual Matrix right now. I mean, this place is kind of like... yeah. Maybe I am. Celine! I was too late to fist bump her as she passed. Okay. Oh, that was late. Oh, and then I ran into the wall because I was too close to it because I was late. Uh-oh, uh-oh, uh-oh. I got so lucky. I only lost about 5 seconds there. I think I got that first attack out 1 frame before they would have blocked. And that could have cost me like a minute if I had had to fight the agents normally. And now you can see I'm leveling up all the time, and so I'm pretty free to just eat my items, and it'll increase my strength to max. He turned to sludge? Yeah. Yeah, these guys are sore losers. Okay, and now this is the most important one to nail the first attack with. Okay, and he only fell down because the other enemies were falling down and they made contact with him, and so I had to double tap him for him to actually die. If you miss them, then they will split, and then you'll be fighting 8 agents. You don't want to be fighting 8 agents. You will lose 15 minutes or your life. Don't lose 15 minutes. So, also, I started experimenting with taking a weapon in here. I wanted to see if it would help me out in these next horrible rooms coming up. I call them the Agent Gimmick Rooms. This first one, I'm going to have to constantly be avoiding bullets from turrets, with 4 agents coming after me in a very small space. So these rooms suck. They just suck because they're surrounding me and they have a gun that can stun you and knock you down for like 10 seconds, and they can just do this constantly. But if you get close to them and there are a lot of them around, you'll see they're jumping a lot. And so you can start to juggle them in the air, but it's really, really hard to take advantage of that when all of this is just chaos. How are you supposed to control this? But I was able to get both of them there against the corner. Ooh, that was close. Ow. You see how often they block? Okay, that wasn't too bad. That wasn't too bad at all. I was actually going to leave the tire there, but last minute I decided to go back to get it. Okay, so far so good. But we have another, even worse gimmick room coming up right here. The freaking laser room. So the lasers are nice in a way because they always knock the agents into the air, but as you try to do that, you usually get hit by a laser. So it's really hard, especially because the laser timers are actually random. It's really hard to pick your battles here. And that was unlucky. Like, bringing the tire actually kind of cost me time there because it knocked me into the laser. He actually didn't get hit by the laser there. Oh boy. Oh boy. That sucked. That was just really unfortunate. And he shot his gun, but I jumped over it, and that gave me a chance to actually take him out. Okay, that was scary. Whenever they start flashing red, you go into panic mode, because that means if they get back up, they're going to split into another agent, and they're both going to have their health back. That room was a bit rough. It was a bit rough. You see, I'm losing time, but it could have been worse, and it was able to pull together right in the end, and here we go. In the world record I'm going against here, I got lucky with the enemies not engaging with me. I need to not see Wes or Chris here. Wes, Chris, Wes, Chris. So, you have to destroy this machine before you are allowed to leave this room, and 4 clones will be dispatched to try to stop you from doing this.
Oh, come on!
The clones are each generated at random from the pool of playable protagonists that you can have in this game, and I got only the worst possible ones that have the highest chance to consistently knock you down. And to fittingly end this perfect troll sequence, the last time I was knocked down, the machine was 1 hit from dead. Okay, so with 15 seconds lost, let's go up to the thing that decides it all. This fight coming up is the most variance-laden fight of all of these, in a way. I have to hope that I don't see all agents in this room. If I do, I can get past them, as you've seen, but... Okay, only 2 agents. Ow. I love that falling animation, but I don't love seeing it at the end of the most pressured run of my life. Okay, they're both down. But the other enemies are going Super Saiyan. And I'm running out of health, and I don't have any healing items, or tutorial stamina, or tutorial willpower. And I got an extra reinforcement, but thankfully he went down right away. So that only cost me like 5 seconds, and here we go. The most hard-hitting boss in the game. You can set up infinite combos, but it seems like his falling patterns are even harder to stay on top of than the others. See, I'm trying to keep that infinite combo going, and so whenever I drop it, I try to play it safe and not even try to pick him up, because... Okay, I messed up my sequence there. I usually try to not even pick him up, because if you miss picking him up, then you're stuck in missed grab animation, and it just takes forever, and then you're going to get destroyed. That was just bad luck, because he decided to teleport away, and he actually teleported really far away, which is rare. So that was just terrible luck. But I recovered. That time loss earlier was really... Okay, this is it. Come on, man. Well, we tried to redeem him, but he wasn't interested. That time loss in the machine-destroying room was unfortunate, but... Now we have the escape sequence. I'm really worried about 2 rooms here, both of the agent gimmick rooms. The first one, the lasers, as we know, can appear and disappear at random times. So that's the room I'm thinking about next. We have a bunch of rooms to get through first. We got through the platforming just fine. The enemies can knock us down at any moment, and I can miss the ladders, but so far everything's gone okay. The agents here can knock me down. Okay, here we go. The laser room. Please let me through. Did you see that? When you're coming through this way, the lasers often like to do a visual bug there, where they disappear and then they immediately reappear. And also a little bug happened as I got up, where I accidentally buffered a bird kick, and that sent me back into the lasers for a second time. So that was annoying. But thankfully, I full sent my final dash through that room, and I was able to get through all 4 of them. So it actually didn't lose me that much time in the long run, because usually I play it really safe, and I'll only go halfway through, and then I'll wait. So I kind of recovered it in the very end. And now for the final boss. In a way, this is the hardest hitting boss in the game, but it's also the easiest boss in the game. The true final boss of this speedrun is the very next room. The first run that I ever had of this game that I was really happy with, I lost 31 seconds to a near infinite combo in the next room, because it can just do that. So here I'm just thinking about that. I'm going to focus harder than I've ever focused on in my life to see the pattern that the enemies that are on fire will be. You can't punch me, buddy. So I can try to jump over them. Also, I missed a split. That's a terrible pattern. I can't believe I got past that. These guys are annoying. Let me through. I can't believe I got past that pattern. Sup, guys? One last fist bump. That is River City Ransom Underground in 1 minute and 1 hour, 1 hour, 9 minutes, 53 seconds.
It was ugly. It was never gonna be pretty. It's a River City Ransom speedrun. The game's gonna fight as hard as it possibly can to cost you as much time as possible in the most BS ways that God could conceive. But we clutched it out anyway. Alright, baby. Alright. Alright. Thank you all so much, man.
And still, nobody became honor students. Thank you so much, everybody, for the woohoos. For the GGs. Sayception indeed. Whenever you decide to sleep, Vio, I hope you have an amazing sleep. I only messed up one split as I was watching this back. The second to last one. That's actually, I'm impressed with myself. I can't believe I actually kept up with it. Wow, what a run. So actually the time losses weren't as egregious as they felt as I was playing the game. A lot of the worst time losses until the end game were just running into walls that I don't normally run into. And so it felt terrible. And also, like, the beginning of the game, I got knocked down like 15 million times as I was trying to get to Purple Bee with Alex and Ryan. That felt ugly and horrible, and I hated it, but it doesn't cost you time. Nothing costs you time, really, until after Otis. That's the beauty. This is the world's first sub 110, sub 100 minutes in River City Ransom Underground. And, like, the beginning was horrible. And it just doesn't matter. Like, you can, as long as you get to Calvin, then you can do whatever you want in the beginning, honestly. And that's cool. The Milk Quest... is good for your bones. Alright, Jade System, I'm really happy that you were able to see it. I'm glad that you liked it. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Cheers, all the best. Thank you all for being here. Oh my goodness. Yeah, Jade System, Teal, Karen Vio, Zyzy, Unknowingly, Neon. It means so much to me. It's really cool. I've been worried that streaming this game has been something that has been putting my community off. Because it's been a bit of a stressful experience, this game, for like a lot of friends. It's just you know, not for them, and I wasn't sure if I was sort of like, you know, I don't know. It's nice. It's really nice to have a stream like this and have a stream like this. Thank you, Ursats. To know that people are into this too, because I'm really into this. Shoutouts again to Conatus Creative, everybody who made this game possible. Thank you for this game. What's it really gonna do? I'll just beat it in less than 100 minutes again. But we have some work to do. First off, we have to just retrieve something from the dungeon. I'm in. Okay, now we're off on our most important mission yet. I knew that sub 110 was on the table, like, very resolutely. But to get it my literal first attempt after finding that time save felt really good, especially because the run was overall so solid. Like, really. Yo, fist bump, kitty. Aw. Anyway, this is our mission. We're here to give them the greatest home that they could have. Which, of course, in this case is a very run-down, sort of abandoned, midway apartment thing. But Nancy's really happy about it. And it seems like the cats are really happy about it, and that's all that matters. So let's go check them out. Or let's go check on them. The second one. Versat says, "Say you're great. I don't know why you don't have thousands of views." Oh, wow. Well, that's incredibly flattering, first off. Thank you so much. I've thought about, like... Man. I don't know what I'd do that would, like, kind of launch me into that sort of... into those sort of numbers. I think if it were through speedrunning, I'd have to pick up a really, really popular game and just get, you know, summoning salted. But even, like, the summoning salt boost usually doesn't do anything remotely close to that. I don't know, like, I could do Pokemon Ironmon Kaizo or something that usually seems to help people. Like, Infinite Fusion gave me, like, the biggest boost I've ever had, aside from Diminish. Ooh, a Yarn Sword. This will give me thousands of viewers. We have cats now. The world is truly safe. The river is truly city. Kara says, "I will admit, a lot of the games you play I'm not too into. I don't even really like speedrunning in general, but I'm super here for you and the community rather than the content itself. I just enjoy being around everyone because you all are so sweet." You have proven your point. So much love. Thank you. These kitties are like the community. They're beautiful, they're round and fluffy. They're such different individuals in their own ways. They're full of energy and cuddles and exclamation points. And it just makes me want to massage this man. Thank you all so much, oh my gosh.